My mother ruined my relationship by falling in love with my boyfriend because he reminded her of the man who once broke her heart. I found out too late. I grew up with a single mom. No siblings, no dad in the picture, just the two of us. My mom was beautiful in that way people always talk about when they're trying not to sound jealous. Effortless, elegant without trying. The kind of woman strangers complimented in grocery store. Lines or asked if she'd ever done modeling. She had me when she was 24, fresh out of a whirlwind relationship with a man she never really talked about. I learned early not to ask too many questions. When I was 10, I asked her if my dad had been nice. She took a long sip of her wine and said, he was magnetic, not kind. Then she changed the subject. She was an incredible mom in a lot of ways, supportive, fierce, protective. She taught me to speak my mind, to take up space, to never let a man define me. I believed everything she said like it was gospel. I looked at her and thought, that's who I want to be. But she also had a way of shrinking the room without raising her voice. If you said something she didn't like, her silence could fill every corner. If she was disappointed in you, she didn't yell. She simply pulled away. Emotionally, it was subtle but devastating. As a kid, I learned quickly how to win her warmth back. Be agreeable, be bright, be someone she could be. Proud of it wasn't until much later that I realized I spent a lot of my life trying to earn love instead of just receiving it. I met Alex during my second year of college. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't cocky. He was the kind of guy who actually listened, like full eye contact, phone face down, absorbing every word. I wasn't used to that. He was in his final year of architecture, passionate in this quiet, meticulous way. He had this habit of sketching on napkins, receipts, even the backs of my notebooks. I still have some of them, packed in a box I can't quite bring myself to throw away. Our first few dates were slow. No love bombing, no fireworks, just ease. I remember thinking, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Safety, mutual interest. No games. He didn't care that I wasn't the loudest person in the room. He liked that I took time to answer questions. He noticed small things, when I was anxious, when I pulled at my sleeves, when I needed space without knowing how to ask. It wasn't a whirlwind. It was a gentle unfolding. The kind of love that makes you exhale. After about 3 months, I brought him home. Not to live, just to meet my mom. We'd planned a weekend visit. I told her a little about him over the phone, mentioned he was older than me by a few years, 26 to my 21 at the time, and that he was really thoughtful. She said she was excited to meet him, bring him. I'll cook something nice. The night we arrived, she opened the door with a glass of red wine in her hand, dressed in this black silk wrap that looked more like a date night outfit than something you'd wear to greet your daughter. She smiled and leaned in to kiss my cheek, but her eyes locked on his. You must be Alex, she said, holding out her hand. Wow, you look familiar. Has anyone ever told you that? Alex blinked, a little startled but smiling. Can't say they have, no. She said, still smiling. Well, welcome. That first weekend seemed fine, mostly. My mom was a little too engaged, leaning across the table during dinner, asking him questions about his childhood, his dreams, what drew him to architecture. It felt like she was interviewing him. Or flirting. She laughed a lot that weekend. Wore more makeup than usual. Played jazz in the background while we all sat around the kitchen island, sipping wine. At one point, she pulled out an old photo album. I thought she was going to show baby pictures of me, but instead, she flipped to a page with a black and white shot of her and a man I'd never seen before. Tall, broad shoulders, sharp cheekbones. My mom in a sundress, smiling like someone in love. That's William, she said. My first real heartbreak. God, you actually look a little like him, Alex, especially the eyes. I laughed awkwardly. Alex looked at me, not sure how to respond. She turned the page casually. Anyway, I should have said something that night. But what would I have said? Mom, you're being weird? Stop looking at my boyfriend like you're reliving your youth? It sounded insane, even in my own head. So I brushed it off. I told myself she was just being nostalgic. Harmless. Alex said she was a little intense, but nice. She's just really present. That word stayed with me. After that visit, something between Alex and me shifted slightly. It wasn't huge, more like a quiet drift. He seemed distracted sometimes, distant. I chalked it up to school stress. We were both busy, but he started texting less. He'd be weirdly vague about his free time. When I asked if everything was okay, he always said, yeah, of course, just tired. I didn't connect the dots. Not yet, then my mom started texting him. At first, it was innocent stuff. Hey, I saw this article about architecture and thought of you. Or, tell me to eat something other than cereal this week. Haha, he'd show me the text, smiling. I told myself it was sweet. They got along, that's good, right? But then one night, he didn't show me her message. I only knew she'd texted because her name popped up on his screen while he was scrolling. He swiped it away quickly. Said, oh, just your mom. That was the first time I felt it, that gut-sinking feeling. Something was off. I tried to ignore the unease. That's what we're taught to do, right? Be polite. Don't accuse. Don't be dramatic. So every time something felt off, I just swallowed it. folded it up neatly and tucked it away in some drawer inside me. Labeled, "You're probably overreacting," but the drawer was starting to overflow. It started with little things. My mom would comment on Alex's social media posts, nothing overtly inappropriate, but just too much, too personal. "Look at that smile," she wrote under a photo of him holding a coffee. "No wonder my daughter's in love." I laughed it off the first time, even joked about it. But when I scrolled through her profile and saw that she didn't comment like that on anyone else's posts, not mine, not her friends, not even celebrities, something in me twisted. Then there was the time she invited him over without me. I found out because he let it slip during dinner. We were eating takeout on the floor of my apartment, talking about weekend plans, when he said, "Well, I told your mom I'd help her move some furniture Saturday morning, so maybe after that we could." I blinked. "Wait, what?" He looked up from his noodles. "Oh yeah, she texted me. Said she bought this vintage shelf and needed someone tall to lift it." "And you didn't think to tell me?" He shrugged, but I saw the defensiveness flash behind his eyes. "I mean, it's just your mom. It's not a big deal." It wasn't just the shelf. She started texting him more often, sending pictures of recipes she'd made or links to concerts coming to town. I told myself she was just being friendly, that I was the problem, that I was jealous of my own mother. The guilt was worse than the suspicion. At one point, Alex and I were fighting more. Not blow-ups, just friction, distance, tension. I'd ask him something simple and he'd snap, then apologize, then withdraw, then pull me close again like he could feel me slipping. "I don't know what's wrong with me lately," he said one night, his head in his hands. "I feel weird, pulled in a million directions." I remember sitting beside him and touching his back gently. "Do you still want this?" "Use?" He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me with that guilty sort of softness that feels worse than anger. "I do," he said eventually. "I think I'm just overwhelmed." Asterisk, it all came to a head the night of my birthday. My mom insisted on hosting something small at her place, just family and a few close friends. She said she'd cook, set up everything, but I should just relax and show up. That sounded great at the time. I hadn't seen her in a few weeks, and a part of me still clung to the idea that maybe I was imagining all of it. Maybe this would be good. A reset. When we walked in, the table was already set. Candles, wine, a playlist of soft jazz humming in the background, and my mom, dressed in a silky off-shoulder red dress that I had literally seen in her closet. For date nights only. Her hair was curled, her lips bold, and when she saw Alex, her smile widened like it physically hurt her to hold it in. "Happy birthday, sweetheart," she said, hugging me. But her eyes were on him when she added, "You look incredible. Both of you." The dinner was strange. The way she kept refilling Alex's glass, laughing a little too long at his jokes. She kept brushing her hand on his arm when she passed behind him, commenting on how broad his shoulders looked. At one point, she asked him to help her in the kitchen, and when they were gone for longer than expected, I walked in and found her leaning on the counter while he sliced something. Giggling at something he'd said. When they saw me, she straightened up quickly. "We were just talking about movies," she said. "I told Alex you used to be obsessed with Amelie." "God, remember that face?" I smiled tightly and said nothing. Later that night, I found her in the hallway looking at an old framed picture of herself, the one with him, William. She didn't see me at first. She just stared at it, glass in hand, the corners of her mouth twitching. "I was so in love with him," she said, still not looking at me. "You never forget that kind of heartbreak. You carry it. Sometimes it sneaks up on you and people who weren't even there." I didn't say a word. I went to bed that night and cried into my pillow, not entirely sure why. Something had shifted. Irreversibly. Asterisk, I brought it up once, carefully, casually. We were walking through a bookstore when I said, "Has my mom ever made you uncomfortable?" Alex froze mid-step. "No," he said too quickly. "Why would you ask that?" I shrugged, trying to keep my voice even. She just crosses lines sometimes. Says things. I notice stuff. He exhaled slowly and turned to look at me. "I think you're being paranoid. She's your mom. She's just friendly. That's how she is." But I knew that wasn't how she was. She wasn't like that with anyone else. Just him, only him. Still, I nodded. "Yeah, you're probably right." Inside, though, something fractured. Asterisk, the moment that snapped it all into focus came late one night. Alex and I were at my place, both of us half asleep in bed. His phone buzzed. I didn't mean to look. I truly didn't. But when the name on the screen lit up, my breath caught. Mom, 1:04 a.m. He turned it over quickly, pressing the side button. I pretended to be asleep, but my chest was tight. My mind raced. Who texts their daughter's boyfriend in the middle of the night? I wanted to confront him. I wanted to scream. But something in me, call it fear, call it trauma, call it the inner child trying to keep the peace, stopped me. I just lay there staring at the wall, wondering how the person who raised me could be the one unraveling my world. Asterisk, I didn't know it yet, but I was about a week away from catching them together. Not just flirting, not just texting. Together. And that's when everything collapsed. The thing about betrayal is that your body usually knows before your brain does. the knot in your stomach. The strange sense of silence that feels like too much. The way the air feels. Wrong, the night I caught them, all of those alarms were blaring. But still, I walked straight into it. It was a Sunday. Alex and I were supposed to have dinner at my mom's. Something. She'd insisted on hosting after not seeing us together for so long. I was dragging my feet about going, but I figured maybe if we just got through it, I could finally have the conversation I'd been avoiding. I told myself, maybe tonight I'll say something. I'll ask her to back off. I'll get answers. Or closure. Or both. I had class earlier that day and ended up running a little late. Alex offered to go ahead of me to help her with setup. I almost told him no. That I'd rather we both go together, but I didn't want to sound controlling. God. I wish I had. I texted him when I was leaving, on my way. Save me some of that garlic bread she brags about. No response. I texted again 20 minutes later when I parked down the street. Still nothing. As I approached the house, I noticed something odd. Only one car in the driveway. Alex's. My mom's wasn't there. That struck me as strange, since she never let anyone else drive her car. And she definitely wouldn't be out running errands 10 minutes before dinner. I knocked. No answer. I let myself in. She never locked the front door when she was expecting us. The house was too quiet. No clinking in the kitchen, no music playing. Just stillness. I called out, "Hello?" No reply. Then I heard something. Not a voice, not footsteps. A sound like a muffled laugh. Somewhere in the back of the house. My feet started moving before. I even realized it. Down the hallway. Past the dining room. Toward the room she used as an office, the one with the frosted glass. French doors. The doors were cracked open. What I saw inside didn't hit me all at once. It came in fragments. Flashbulb moments that burned into my brain. Alex, sitting on the couch. My mom, next to him. Too close, his hand on her knee, her fingers in his hair. The soft, familiar rhythm of a kiss. My whole body went cold. Not angry, not screaming, just frozen. Like someone had unplugged the world. I pushed the door open fully, and it creaked louder than I meant it to. They both looked up. And then chaos. Alex jumped to his feet, his face pale, mouth half open. Like he was about to say something but couldn't form words. My mom didn't even look surprised. Just annoyed. "Sweetheart," she said, smoothing her dress. "This isn't what it looks like." God, that line. I laughed, out loud. One of those awful, shocked, almost hysterical laughs that you don't mean to let out. It burst from my chest like a cough. Alex stepped forward. "I swear this wasn't. It just happened. It wasn't." I backed away. I couldn't hear him anymore. Everything sounded like it was underwater. My heartbeat pounded in my ears, and I suddenly realized I couldn't breathe. Asterisk, I don't remember exactly what I said. I think I screamed. Maybe cried. "I know." I asked, "How long?" More than once, and they didn't answer. Or maybe they did and I just didn't hear it. I ran. Out of the house, into the cold night. I barely made it to my car before I broke down, chest heaving, tears blinding me. I don't know how long I sat there. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe an hour. My phone buzzed again and again. First from Alex, then from my mom. I turned it off. That night, I didn't go home. I went to a friend's place. Someone who didn't even know the full story but let me sleep on their couch without questions. The next morning, the full weight of it hit me like a slow avalanche. Not just the betrayal from Alex, that was bad. Enough, but from her, my mother. The one person in the world who was supposed to protect me, and it wasn't just a one-time mistake. The body language, the intimacy this had been building. For weeks. Maybe longer. I thought of every moment I gaslit myself into silence. Every time I told myself I was crazy. Every text I shrugged off. Every glance I tried to unsee I wasn't crazy. I was right. And somehow that didn't make it any better. Asterisk in the days that followed. They both tried to reach out. Alex sent long texts, apologies, justifications, begging me to meet and talk. It wasn't like that. I didn't mean to. I was confused. She came on to me. I felt trapped. I didn't respond. My mother took a different approach. She didn't apologize. Not really. Her first text read, "I know you're angry, but you don't understand the whole story. Emotions are complicated." I almost threw my phone across the room. Another message followed, "You're still young. One day you'll understand how loneliness can make you do things you didn't expect." She made herself the victim. As if I was the one who betrayed her by reacting. I didn't speak to her, not for weeks. Eventually, I blocked her. Asterisk, what came after wasn't cinematic. There was no fiery revenge, no confrontations in the rain, just silence. I dropped out of school for the semester. I couldn't concentrate. My hands would shake every time someone said his name. I moved in with a friend for a while. I went to therapy. I tried to rebuild myself from what was left, but some betrayals don't leave bruises, they leave holes. And for a long time, I didn't know how to fill them. I didn't date, I didn't trust. I didn't even look at anyone for almost a year, because if your own mother could steal from you like that, your trust, your partner, your sense of reality, then what the hell did anyone else owe you? I wish I could tell you that I forgave them. I haven't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The days after felt like drifting through smoke. People don't talk enough about the quiet part of grief. Not the breakdowns, the stillness, the numbness. The way you wake up and it takes a second to remember what's been taken from you. And then when you do, it's like being punched in the chest all over again. I remember brushing my teeth one morning and just staring at my reflection like, who the FCK am I now? I didn't recognize myself. My face looked the same, but my eyes felt foreign, empty, like someone else was driving the car and I was just a passenger. Along for the ride, I didn't talk to anyone about it for a while. Not really. A few close friends knew something had happened. They knew Alex and I had broken up, and that something was wrong between my mom and me, but I didn't give details. I couldn't. It felt too surreal to say out loud. And the few people I did hint at it with, they didn't get it. One girl I talked to actually laughed when I said my mom had come on to my boyfriend, like it was a twisted soap opera. Another said, well, at least it wasn't your dad, right? Someone even asked, are you sure it was that serious? Like, maybe they just got too drunk or something. I stopped telling people after that. Asterisk, I've never felt so completely alone. Because it wasn't just the betrayal, it was who it came from. If a stranger hurts you, you cry. If a friend hurts you, you get mad. If your mother does it, it shatters something fundamental in you. Something that's not easily repaired. She was supposed to protect me. When I was little and scared of the dark, she sat at the edge of my bed and told me nothing bad could happen to me as long as she was near. I believed her. I carried that belief into adulthood, thinking that no matter how messy life got, she would always have my back. Instead, she watched me fall in love and then quietly slipped herself between us. And the worst part? She didn't even seem sorry. I started spiraling. I questioned everything. Every moment of our past. Every piece of advice she gave me growing up. Every time she told me to be careful with men, to protect my heart. What? *CK joke. I thought about confronting her in person. I almost did. I even stood outside her house once, car idling, fingers white-knuckling the steering wheel. But I couldn't go through with it. I didn't trust myself not to scream. Or cry, or hit something. So I drove away. Alex kept trying. Weeks passed. And the text didn't stop. He emailed me once, a long, rambling apology filled with phrases like, I didn't mean for it to happen. And you have to believe me, it didn't mean anything. That's the line that broke me. Didn't mean anything. So you destroyed my relationship with my mother. Fractured my trust in every relationship I'll ever have. For nothing? I didn't reply. He messaged again months later. Said he was in therapy now, that he realized he had unresolved attachment issues. That he projected things and got caught in the middle of something that started way before he came along. He didn't say her name. Not once, like if he didn't say it, it would make her disappear from the narrative. It didn't. She went quiet eventually. I blocked her number, but I knew she was trying. A few messages slipped through via email. I hope you're okay. I'm here when you're ready to talk. You'll understand when you're older. Don't let this come between us. That last one made me laugh. As if I let anything happen, as if I had a choice in what tore us apart. The worst one, though, the one that kept me awake at night, simply read, I didn't take him from you. You gave him away when you stopped looking at him like I did. That message nearly made me vomit. Because for a moment, just one, it made me doubt myself. Was I not enough? Was I so emotionally distant that I pushed him away? Was I boring? Cold? It took weeks to unlearn that poison. Because that's what it was, poison wrapped in false intimacy. Betrayal doesn't just rob you of people. It robs you of your memories. I couldn't look at pictures of Alex anymore without wondering which smile was real and which was for show. I couldn't hear jazz without feeling nauseous because my mom used to play it every time he was over. Even my own birthday felt ruined. Every year when it rolled around, I didn't want to celebrate. I didn't want to remember. I had to rebuild everything from scratch, new routines, new playlists, new definitions of safe. And that took time, more time than I wanted to admit. I got a new apartment. Started seeing a therapist regularly. Told myself I wouldn't date again until I could tell the difference between attraction and danger. Between love and manipulation, and slowly, I started coming back to myself. I reconnected with a cousin I hadn't seen in years, someone who had gone no contact with her own mom after years of narcissistic behavior. We swapped stories, shared tea, laughed at the absurdity of how deeply broken people can be, and how long it takes to see the cracks when they're wearing the mom mask. She said something that stuck with me. Just because someone gave birth to you doesn't mean they were ever emotionally mature enough to raise you. That sentence unlocked something in me. I don't think I'll ever forgive her, not in the conventional way. And I'm okay with that. Forgiveness isn't always about letting go for peace. Sometimes it's about accepting that what happened will never be okay and choosing to move forward anyway. Alex became a ghost. I heard from a mutual friend that he moved out of state. Good. I hope he found a therapist who actually makes him look in the mirror. My mother? I haven't seen her in over a year. She still tries every few months. A card at the holidays, a message on my birthday. Never with apologies. Always with soft-edged guilt trips. I don't reply. I probably never will, but I don't hate her anymore. That's the thing that surprised me. What came after the rage wasn't hatred. It was grief, not grief over losing her, but grief over the version of her I thought was real. The mother I believed in. The one who would never hurt me like. That's the person I'm mourning. Not the one who kissed my boyfriend. The one who made me believe I was safe. It's been almost 2 years. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago. Sometimes I still catch myself replaying it like it just happened. The office door creaking open. The look on their faces. The absence of guilt in hers. The presence of guilt. In his, I'm not angry anymore. Not really. What I am now is aware of the ways people can bleed into you without permission. The way their unhealed wounds can reach across generations, attach themselves to your happiness like vines and squeeze. My mother never got over William. I know that now. I think somewhere deep down she never even tried. She just carried the ache of that rejection like a relic, wrapped it in silk, buried it beneath decades of wine and lipstick, and I'm fine. And then one day, a man who looked too much like him walked through her front door, holding her daughter's hand. She didn't steal Alex out of some master plan. I'm not giving her that much credit. What she did was much darker and much sadder. She projected her pain onto my present. She took what wasn't hers because she believed life had taken something from her first. That's not an excuse. That's just the why. And understanding the why doesn't change the outcome. Asterisk people always say trust your gut. But I think that phrase is misleading. Your gut isn't loud. It's not a scream, it's a whisper. It's a flicker. It's that pause. Before a kiss. That tightening in your chest when someone brushes off a question. That moment when you laugh, but not because something's funny. I silenced that whisper for months, and now I pay attention. To everything. Not in a paranoid way, just respectfully. I treat my intuition like a muscle now, not a malfunction. I've also learned that boundaries aren't cruel. Distance isn't revenge. And no one, no matter their title in your life, is entitled to keep a seat at your table once they start poisoning the food. I used to believe that family is forever. Now I believe that respect is the only real foundation for forever. And once that's gone, blood means very little. Asterisk, I haven't dated seriously since Alex. I've had a few beginnings. A coffee here, a walk there, but I'm cautious. I don't jump in the way I used to. I don't romanticize potential anymore. I ask questions. I watch how people treat waiters. I notice how they speak about their exes. I listen when my gut flinches, and I don't ignore it. I'm not jaded. I haven't sworn off love. But I'm not rushing to give it to anyone who doesn't earn it, because I know what it feels like to give your love to the wrong person. Worse, to have it taken by the one person who was supposed to model what love should look like. Asterisk last month. I got another card from my mom. No return. Address. Just my name written in that unmistakable cursive I'd recognize anywhere. Inside was a photo. An old one. Me, maybe 8 years old, sitting on her lap, both of us smiling like the world hadn't started breaking yet. On the back, she had written, I hope one day you'll remember me this way. I stared at it for a long time, and then I put it back in the envelope, placed in a drawer, and walked away. I do remember her that way, but I also remember everything after. Both truths exist. And I no longer feel guilty for choosing which one I carry with me. Asterisk, when people ask me now, has a parent ever ruined one of your relationships? I don't know where to begin. How do you explain the layers? That it wasn't just about the guy, it was about the violation, the confusion, the betrayal that split your identity into before and after. It was about having to become your own mother in the absence of one. To re-raise yourself. To relearn how to feel safe again. So when I hear people joke about crazy in-laws or overbearing mothers, I smile politely and nod. I don't offer my story, not unless they ask. Not unless they really want to know, because this story isn't just about what she did. It's about what I had to rebuild from the ashes.